Someone's on a phone.
Yeah, that's our
330.
assistant building inspector, Dennis.
Dennis?
It's called.
Hello, Chair.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
All right, we're all set and live and running.
Okay, welcome to the December, I hope, 22nd work session of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Okay, so the first question that's come up is whether we want to continue these work sessions. I think that back when we had a lot, I'll give you my 2 cents opinion, then everybody else should tell me what they, should give everybody else their opinion. Back when we started these sort of at the end of the summer, in September, October, I think it made sense. We had a lot of items to be discussed and we had meetings that were going to midnight. So it made sense. I'm not sure that we need to have them now. I think we should have them when we need them rather than every month. We have, what, Abby, Doug, Greta, what do you think?
I agree.
100% agree.
That makes sense.
Okay, so I mean, like tonight's, we honestly didn't need it, as it turns out. But since we're here and since we have an agenda, let's see if anyone wants to discuss. Amber, I don't have the agenda because my inability to get on my computer happened just 10 minutes ago. So I didn't have time to. So if you could read the first item on the agenda.
Sure. The first item is 360A Mount Pleasant Avenue.
Right. That's the renewal of the special permit. Are all the notice requirements? They had some issues with notice and everything. Is that all good to go now?
So they have received the proper notification to send out to the applicants. We need to see if they do so. It should be sent out by 10 days before the hearing date. So that should be, if the next hearing is the 7th, what is that? December 30th, 31st?
Is it 10 business days or 10 days?
Calendar days.
Okay. Can you just follow up with them and remind them and or make sure they've already done it? Thank you. Anybody have anything to discuss about this
No.
item at the moment? Anything that you want to raise?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, so then let's take the next item on the agenda.
Sorry, that's actually December 28th, just to be clear.
Okay, so December 28th is when they have, so just please contact them and make sure they are aware. So,
Will do.
okay. Next item on the agenda?
Yes. And so that is 1043 West Boston Post Road. This is a new application. It's Chopped Creative Salad Company. They seek a special use permit to operate a restaurant at a former bank building. An interpretation of whether a use variance is required to retain the existing bank drive-through window. Zoning Board of Appeals special use permit approval is required, and it's a type 2 secret action.
Okay, before we go further, do you know, I couldn't figure out, because they got a demolition permit. So are they demolishing the building or are they reusing the existing building?
They're going to reuse the existing building.
Okay, because there is among the materials that was sent was a demolition permit, so I was
probably
confused.
interior partitions.
Okay, so I guess we need to discuss that. Anyone have any thoughts about the need for a use permit? Well, if they don't, so the bank got a use permit to have a drive-through? Is that what happened? Frank, do you know? Doug,
Yes,
somebody?
I believe that's true.
What's that, Frank?
They had a permit for the drive-through when the bank was in existence there. They had to.
But did they need a variance or they just needed a special permit?
You're talking about the new applicant or the bank?
No, the bank.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
The question is, did they have to get a use variance to run a drive-through in the bank?
Right, that was my question.
It was probably a variance, not a special permit.
So then we need to look at the provisions of that use permit, of that variance. If they got a use variance, then we need to look at the language of that use variance to see what it says as to whether or not they would need a new one. So is the use variance attached to the application? If that was what they got?
Okay.
can you make sure that if they got a special permit, it's attached? If they got a use variance for the bank, it's attached, so we have all the information we need?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I looked,
Isn't
I don't
there
think
a
we have it.
fast food law that, oops, sorry, go. I didn't mean to interrupt anyone.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think we have it.
Right, so if Amber would check with the applicant to make sure he,
Yeah, I'll
submits-
check with the applicant to see if they have that, and if they do, I will post it to the
Well,
materials.
Did the bank have to come to, I'm sorry, Abby, go ahead, Abby.
No, I'm just also wondering, and I'd have to look this up, but if I recall, our food laws in the village don't necessarily permit drive-through restaurants. So how does that work as well, you know?
well, I think that's why they're asking if they need a use variance and, but potentially, again, having not looked at it, if they got a use variance for a drive-through lane with the bank and use variance is run with the land, I think
They
that
don't
might be
need
what
one.
they're asking. Do
Right.
they need a new use variance? But I think we have to look at the language of that variance to know.
Actually, we do, I think we might have it. I think maybe we do have it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying, would the new food law supersede that in any way?
Oh, I see. Good question. Well, if it runs with the land, it might not, but again, it might. So you're good.
The
That's a
new
good,
law, you know?
yeah. No, you're right. So we have to look at it.
Robin, out of curiosity, don't all variances granted by the ZBA run with the land rather than the operation?
Yes, but if we gave a use permit to operate a bank with a drive-through window, it might be narrowly worded, in which case any bank could have a drive-through, but not necessarily a food service. And if we gave them a use variance that said a variance from this section, and it's a different section now, then it might not apply. I don't know, but all of those things
Yeah.
could distinguish it. On the other hand, if we just said drive-through is appropriate here and they shall be permitted, and someone can have drive-through here, then it might obviate the need for them to get a new
I mean,
use
that's
variance if they needed
very,
that.
very problematic to me. I mean, that's like a huge loophole. Like you could buy a gas station and be like, hey, we can, like just.
All I'm saying is I think we just have to look at it. And I'm not saying you may be very, I mean, you may be right.
I'm just, that was just,
No, I think that we have to look at both of those. That's a good question for the applicant to think about the issue of the new laws, see how they play into anything.
Yeah, I now take it back. I don't think we have any use variance in our packet.
Okay, so if it wasn't submitted, it needs to be added. If it wasn't a variance and it was just a special permit, then obviously
Well, you know
it
what?
doesn't apply.
I think we have McDonald's
but they've been grandfathered
and they have a
in.
drive-through. Yeah, but they have a drive-through.
Yeah, but that's grandfathered.
They were grandfathered in. They've been here forever.
Yeah.
How long has the bank been there?
But it doesn't matter. A bank might not, just because the bank had a drive-through, if it did it by special permit, it might not be grandfathered in. That's another
Right.
question.
As I understand from the applicant, and I guess they would speak more to this in their application or when they're presenting, they appear to be presenting a different kind of a model of food, accessing that's not sit down, but it's not quite compared to fast food. So that's where they're coming from.
Yeah,
Well,
but the other-
the chopped in, there's a chopped in the city that I've been into, and it's, they sort of make salads to go and they may have a few seats. So it's, a little bit more made to order, but.
I'd be curious because Chase Bank on Mamaroneck Avenue has a drive-through. Chase Bank on the Post Road has a drive-through. CVS on the Post Road down in Rhinebeck has a drive-through. I would just be curious to see if they had to get a use variance on those.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, and the law really provides that we need it. So, I mean, if they haven't, then that was something that was an error in the past, but it seems clear we need some type of use variance, either something that's existing or something that is new. I don't think you can just ignore it.
I don't think anyone's thinking we agree. We don't, it's not something to ignore. The question is, what did they get and how do they have it? They have something.
Mhm.
So how did they get there? And is it something that runs with the land to attach to this new application, or is it not?
Right.
One thing I didn't see in the, and maybe I missed it, I didn't see the number of parking spaces provided. Is that in the application? Did I miss it?
Parking space.
They said there were ample parking spaces, which could well be the case. It's a pretty
All right, so
good site. But I don't know, I quickly looking at it, I didn't see where the number of parking spaces.
okay, so for
I-
the applicant, if the applicant's watching this, then the applicant should be informed to make clear where in the application that the materials that were submitted, that is answered. And if the applicant didn't submit that, then the applicant should please submit it.
Well, shouldn't they submit a, Frank, did they submit a site plan showing the parking and everything else on the property?
I believe they did. They did have a site plan, and I think there is ample parking in that lot. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
I, you know, and I remember we had the conversation a while ago about handicap spaces as well. So
Right,
I think the applicant absolutely needs to show us in their documentation what parking spaces they require, how many they actually will provide,
right.
okay,
Agreed.
and lay out where the handicap spaces will be.
Right. Oh, no, agree, absolutely.
Because Robin, if you remember, I think we ran into that issue one time before about the handicap space, and I think it was on the old La Familia restaurant. Frank, did they ever resolve that, by the way?
You're talking about where, 805?
Halsted
Oh.
and Melbourne or Beach?
No, you're talking about Padre Pio. Is that what you're talking
Right,
about?
right,
Yes.
yes.
It still has some moving parts to it, but for the most part, it's resolved.
No, okay.
They
That's the
can,
only reason why I raised the question.
right.
Okay, so the applicant will answer the questions before the meeting or at the meeting. Anything else anyone has on this application?
Not really.
Okay, I think then we're done with this application if nobody else has anything else to say about it? Okay, moving on. What's next on the agenda?
That was it. Next, we have administrative item, 416 Waverly Avenue. As I understand it, the last action was.
We have nothing to discuss at this meeting about that.
Exactly. To request materials, we have not received those, so the board will adjourn this to the next meeting.
Okay, so I think unless anybody on the board has something else they want to discuss with us all,
Are we done?
I think we're done.
This is a
Record.
record.
It's a
We
record.
can't be.
Incredible.
Wait, we can't be. This is a record. Let's talk about something. We can't break a record. We've only been on the phone. We've only been together for 18 minutes.
And so
So-
one thing just to,
So if I can add, getting back to the work sessions, I know it's been skimpy in the last 60 days or 30 days, but I think after the new year, you're going to start getting slammed again with applications and variances. It seems like there's nothing happening, but they're going to start happening in January.
You
Well,
really
we
think
have
so,
define
Frank?
work sessions.
If I recall, we have dates for the work sessions, right, Amber?
We do.
Okay.
Those have not been posted in the calendar, but we have them on.
So they're reserved dates. Okay,
Right.
and so I guess we'll determine either at each meeting or before each meeting whether everybody should keep in their own calendars the work session dates as a, maybe, like a hold, and we'll just have to decide based on what's
agree.
pending. So if there's nothing
I mean-
pending between the next two meetings, or there's only one or two applications like this, we don't need a work session. We'll need a
Right.
work session if there's a lot of materials or things left to be discussed, I think.
By the way, are any of the applicants on, Amber?
I see 3 callers, actually 2. One is LMC Media, and then we have a Brian Dempsey. I'm not sure if Brian is an applicant.
Okay.
Yeah, the applicant for Chopped is not available today, but he will be listening to the recording subsequent to today.
All right, so I guess he'll have to be notified of what we discussed on his application.
He doesn't actually have to be notified. The purpose of a work session that's open to the public is, I don't know that we want to make, I don't know how busy Amber is. I'm going to assume
Very
she's
busy.
busy. So I don't know that we need to make, it's different where we specifically like making sure the applicant knows the date. In this case, the applicant could watch the video of this and find out what we said.
Right. And prepare for
Okay.
the meeting.
All right, just so you'll know, I don't know, Robin, if you're aware of it, but William is no longer with the village?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were aware of it or not.
Yeah.
We still broke a record on a meeting.
So just so that you're aware, we have
22.
received 2 additional applications that would proceed, for zoning board, but they have not yet been deemed complete because they were missing materials, etc. So we are working with the applicants to get them.
So that won't be for this meeting. That will at most be for the next meeting, right?
Exactly.
The
We're
February meeting.
looking for the subsequent meeting, which will be later February.
There was something when there was a request made going back to the CHOP application, when a request was made for material about the parcel, there was a letter sent back saying, I think due to, I thought I read something that due to COVID, it may not have been complete, the document search. Does that sound right, Amber?
Could you repeat that?
I thought I read something and maybe I'm not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
There was that the applicant requested documentation, relating to that parcel. And the response back was that it may not be complete due to limitations with COVID. Does that sound right, or
Where are you reading that information, Greta?
I find it now?
Okay, yeah, I'm not certain, but I'm off the top of my head, but I can certainly look into that if you want to forward. I don't know if you're looking in email or if you're looking in the documents that.
I'm looking in the document. I'll look for it. If I find it, I'll get back to you.
Perfect, that's great, and then we can circle back with the applicant if need be and find out what that is. I can. Okay.
Okay, anything else, Greta, Doug, Abby?
No, I'm good.
Okay, then we can adjourn the meeting. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Everybody, Greta,
Yes.
Doug, yes.
Yes.
Abby,
Yes.
me too. All right, everybody have a happy holiday, wonderful New Year's, all hoping for a really great 2021.
Thank you.
I hope so.
Thank you.
It's got to be better than 2020. Has to be.
Don't say that. Don't jinx it.
Happy, healthy, and safe holiday for
Happy
everyone.
holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.